Katrina. Katrina's a superstar, and she's my neighbor.
Hi, Chris.
And
Hello.
yeah, and she is also a swimmer.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's leave it there, Katrina. She's also a swimmer. I think she swims almost every day. And then we've got this spooky guy called Brian that looks like he's got a ghost coming out of his wall.
Hi. Hi, Brian.
And we've got Brian and Katrina. This is the one, the only, the great and powerful, the mighty Chris.
Thank you very
Fighting
much.
out of Sunderland, Newcastle, UK. Is that right? Is it Sunderland?
Actually, I'm a bit further south now. Not much, though. Not much.
Okay.
So whereabouts are you guys based? Are you all together locally?
No, not together, but we're all situated in Oslo. So it's yeah.
Great.
It's what you would call in England a town, maybe. It's maybe like 600,000-700,000 people.
Wow,
like
brilliant. I'll have to come over sometime.
Oh, you have to. And when we get rid of this Corona thing, we'll take you around. We'll show you Norway. It's a beautiful place. Yeah.
Okay, Katrina, are we recording?
Yeah, we are recording.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because Chris, I was speaking with Katrina today. Do you want to tell Katrina? Would you like to share your plans with Chris, or?
Okay. Yeah, we were actually talking about you over some coffee because we have a lot of great swimmers also in Norway, and I have a lot of like connections around that. So we were or not only swimmers, but having you over to do like some kind of talk or whatever with inspire a lot of other people here also.
I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to share some of my ramblings. I get the chance to go around all sorts of places, sharing I call it bumping my gums. I get to bump my gums in so many different places, and it's been brilliant. Word of mouth is just crazy. It's the best form of business.
Cool.
So yeah, I would love to.
So,
Chris, I think it's not just word of mouth, but you seem like a really nice guy, and that's what I tell everybody about Chris. That hey, once just get to talk to Chris, he's a really nice guy, and as long as we just keep working with really nice people, then business is usually going to be okay. And we just have to keep our focus like not too narrow, but just meet new, cool, nice people, and then nice things happen. So Katrina does a lot of work with kids, and she's launching a new Hero Minds. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's like coaching for like what do you call it? How do you say that in English? Barneskole, like primary.
Yeah, it's primary school. Yeah.
Oh, primary school. Yeah, I've done loads of work in primary schools over the last 10 years. So shout out if you need any help with that.
Katrina, you can get an endorsement from the amazing Chris Cook. Oh my God.
So we will. I have just texted him a little bit on the side that you don't know about. So we will be talking, I think, a little bit.
You got in there first, Brendan.
And we also have Brian.
He's on mute.
Brian, say hello.
We also have Brian. Yeah, that's me.
Brian,
you look like a ghost, and the way your screen is, it looks like you're a funny ghost.
Yeah, it looks like a medieval monk in a horror story type of thing.
Yeah, I'm in the basement. So
yeah, you're in the basement. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So Chris, you don't know a lot about this, but Guy, I think you are in the same group, right, Guy? The Help Without Total Reward. So we have been doing this every week for like exactly that, for sharing our stories and helping others or inspiring others to watch this afterwards. So this is where this comes from. So there's a lot of people joining Guy in this group now. So it's really cool.
There is. I can see the momentum starting to build now. It's brilliant. I like some of the stuff you share as well. It's very different to a lot of groups I'm involved in. So well done. It looks great.
Yeah, it was sort of a reaction, almost like a knee-jerk reaction one day when I was in a lot of groups, especially a large group with 19,000 people, and everybody is trying to pitch their thing to get something back. It's basically selling, and it was very, very American. I got this, up to my throat on this thing, and I said, fuck it, I'm just going to throw out this group and see if people are able to share something without a hidden intention of always getting something back. So that was the start of this group, and then people started sharing and caring, and here we go. So there is humor, there is stuff that is like food recipes, and there is life coaching tips for people or how to do this or that or the other thing. So This reminds me of something. I need to put out a post in the group on my Kick-Ass CV one-page book, how to create a Kick-Ass CV, because that's something that people normally just suck at. So, yeah. I mean, out of the 22,000 CVs I read, I think I've counted 18 really good ones.
No way.
Yeah, it might be that I'm awfully picky, and I am, but most of the CVs resumes I read is like totally crap. So yeah, that's how it is.
I like it.
So, but Chris, Brendan, like I said, we were talking over a coffee earlier today, and he mentioned that you are now, and I have read it also, retired in swimming, right?
Yeah, I retired in 2009. So 11 years ago. Yeah, or expired. I always say I expired because I swam right until I was 30, which is it was really late in swimming.
Yes, I know all about that.
Very late. But hey, passion can take you brilliant places, can't it?
So he mentioned also that you wanted to like prepare something. Like we said, this is like really like friends talking. But we were. Hi, Erika. By the way.
Hi.
Okay, so the bridge, like you do from you swimming till now, you take it around, right? You teach like young people and.
Yeah. We've got I've got two businesses now. So I've got a learn to swim business. It's called Swim Buddies. And we started it 6 years ago last Saturday. So we had our 6th birthday. And we opened out with just 2 hours of swimming with maybe 7 or 8 kids in the water. That was it for the whole weekend. And we've got like it was miserable.
Who's looking after the kids in the pool? There's a 7 or 8 of them. I don't know. It's like
yeah, it was dreadful. And I was worried. I said to my wife, who I shared the business with, I said, my wife's called Erica. I said, Erica, there's no business around here. We should just pack up and go now. You know, we've done all this marketing. We put everything out there. And then 7 kids turned up. And the next week, you know, my wife's really pragmatic about things. She just said, listen, calm down. Let's just work on our strategy for how we double the numbers. How do we do it? So we got the people that we knew who were there to start to invite their friends, cousins, anyone. And then we had 32 the following week. And when we did our head count before COVID, we had just over 900 children swim with us every week.
Wow.
So it's really gone, yeah, it's gone quite big in the town. So, and we've got a waiting list of probably about maybe 200 plus kids. So yeah, and now we're coming back from COVID. It's a challenge, but it's a one we're loving. And then my other business is speaking and coaching and mentoring. So I get the chance to kind of test out what I talk about in the business and then go out and help coach other people, because there's one thing saying it, there's another thing doing it. And you learn a lot about yourself when you have to apply it, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Now, the next level, when you get back from COVID and get all these kids going and you have a waiting list for 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 kids. Now, how about multiplying that and set up a similar thing with another swimmer in Belgium and then one in Australia and then one in South Africa, and then you can go have a network of these things. Then you can cooperate. How do you do it in South Africa? Is it any different?
Definitely.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting. I think that'd be an interesting study just to see how people kind of do it differently. I know I'm always doing research on how the Aussies do it or how they do it in Canada and places like that. But yeah, it would be an interesting study, never mind a business that.
Yeah, because of the Coriolis effect. I mean, the people in Australia, they swim backwards.
Yeah, they go around the plug the wrong way, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So when they're in the pool, they go that way on, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think is the biggest difference between coaching, let's say Australia and UK?
It's interesting that because I've spent a lot of time in Australia and being coached in Australia. There's this inherent belief that they are swimmers. You know, they've got in Australia they are swimmers, and it runs through their blood. You know, their swimming is a big deal over there. When you go over there and you see how their swimmers are treated, I think it was back in the year 2000, there was more millionaires within their swim squad than anywhere else in the world, which is crazy. I mean, I don't even think we've had a millionaire swimmer. Well, we might have one now, but it's taken all that time. So the Aussies just see themselves as swimmers. It's ingrained in them. So it's definitely part of the culture. And
but parents, you know, like parents in Norway at football matches or skiing tournaments, that parents are like, let's say they're enthusiastic. Katrina, you can maybe say like what parents like, because Katrina's got a young son who's really good at football. He's like if the team wins like 10-2 or something, he scores 8 of the goals. So it's like every match he's like he's sort of, yeah, he's like plays like Mohamed Salah. I just have to get that on record. But there's a big difference between parents coaching, and we have sort of this idea that in the US, the parents are crazy. They push the kids too hard. But I don't know, what's it like other places?
It is like that. I see that a lot in the UK. You know, we because I get in the water and teach in my own business, people feel as though they're getting a better service from me than another teacher over the lane. And actually, honestly, I didn't go to the Olympics for teaching swimming. I went to the Olympics for swimming it. Or I can look through a different lens, but it's a very different set of skills. So I don't feel as though they're getting any more. And we do have a cohort of parents who believe that when their child comes to me for the teaching, they think that that's going to be their career mapped out and they're going to be this Olympic swimmer. And you do see the ones who push their kids, but like I always say to people, let kids be kids. They're in single digits for such a short period of time. You know, and it's like giving them phones. They'll have a phone in their hand for the rest of their life, pretty much. You know, just keep it away from them for as long as you can. Just let them be kids. You know, and yeah, there's a fine line between helping them see their talent and explore it, and just pushing them.
There's a really nice documentary on Netflix called Concrete Football from the urban parts of Paris. And there's a lot of the trainers that bring the kids in to teach them this like 3-a-side or 5-a-side football. And they have the ex-players that were there, Mahrez from City and Pogba, all of these where they grew up like really tough areas. And the adults there, they're like, it's just non-stop. You can forget about being a professional footballer. And they're like so brutal with the kids, because they know it's like it's 1 out of every million that's going to be able to make a life out of this. So it's a really nice documentary, really good music to the documentary. So Concrete Football, it's really nice.
That sounds great. I think a lot of the time people see it as a way out of where they are. I think a lot of parents see it as if my son gets rich or my daughter gets rich, I see it as a way out. And plus, you know, you, when you've got kids, you want to give them everything, don't you?
But
yeah, and then some of the ladies go, I married this shitbag, he can't support me, so I have to have this swimmer of a child that can support me.
Yeah, I guess so.
Chris, which age group do you have in the pool? Just for I'm curious.
We predominantly teach from the age of around about 4. So when they're ready for primary school, right through until roughly around about 9 or 10. And we send them on. We're very, very strict about kind of the book end of the business. You know, they come in with no experience, and we teach them, and they leave with 4 strokes and all the water skills, and we have to shuffle them on, because if we could create a little club at the top, but I'm not in business for that. I'm in business just to teach swimming. That's our strap line. We teach swimming. Everything we do has to help us teach swimming better. If it doesn't, we don't get involved. That's our 2 lengths, if you like.
All right.
So, yeah. Any drowned yet? Anybody drowned?
No, thank God for that. No.
Oh, okay.
But we have. It's really interesting, you know, because a lot of parents take their child out. What often happens is, because they don't know a lot about swimming, they'll watch from the sidelines, and then they'll see their child week after week swimming quite well, but as a trained eye, there's a lot more in the journey. So they'll swim front crawl, back crawl, a little bit of breaststroke, butterfly, no way. And the parents will go, that's good enough for me. Take them out, we're done. So we have a massive drop off nationally around about stage 5, but there's another 2 stages left. And I'll never forget, 2 years ago, this lady came on poolside and she looked really stressed. It was her son's first session. She looked really stressed. And I went over to her to do the kind of meet and greet, if you like, and try to calm her down. And I said, is everything okay? You know, and she said, I am 8 years before that, before we'd even been in business, she said, I took my daughter out of swimming lessons because I believed she could swim. She got to a certain stage where I saw her swimming up and down, round about stage 5. They'd gone on holiday. And on the first day of holiday, they were setting up on the poolside early morning. The little girl went in the pool and never came back up. And I'll never forget that session, just hit me right in the heart. And you know, when you go about your day and you just think we're just doing a normal job, actually what you're providing is more than that. And at the end of the session, I got the teachers out and told them the story, and, you know, everyone had a tear in their eye. But, you know, you can get too involved with just the mundane and forget the actual mission. You've got to remind yourself of the mission, that is to teach as many kids as possible the water confidence to keep safe. So, yeah, it's a hard story, that one.
You have to come to know
so, yeah, so you might actually have saved quite a few lives. You wouldn't know.
Yeah,
but,
no, exactly.
Yeah.
And inadvertently, it's that butterfly effect, isn't it? It's amazing what you put in place that actually you don't see happening, but it would be amazing to follow it all as a story.
Yeah, you know, that's something that is underappreciated in the society. We appreciate the people that do save life, obviously, like, you know, medics and doctors, etc. But those who prevent people from dying very early in the chain, like, you know, kids in the youth clubs taking up a kid who is down the line would be suicidal if you didn't actually care for him and listen to him and take that seriously at the time. But you never know if you're actually going to save that kid's life because you didn't know the alternative future.
It's so true. And that's where I think, you know, as a mentor, I used to go into schools and I was working with predominantly disengaged boys. So they were classed as the naughty kids at school. They'd smash windows. They were basically just after attention. They needed attention. The only way to get it was to do things that turn people's heads in the adverse way. You know, I'd often get those boys and they just want to be heard. They just want to be listened to and spoken to properly. And it's hard to get through to them because they've got this front on. But you're absolutely right. You know, that one person, that one adult in their life, just meeting them at their level can have a massive impact on them. Huge impact.
Yeah. It's like, you probably remember as a kid, some coach that you had, it's like almost everybody that reaches like the top of the game, like world class. You see Jordan following his mentor off the court, who's like over 90 years old or something. It's like, and everybody remembers like this one person that meant most to them whenever they were a kid.
And it's the way they teach you lessons. I'll never forget my coach, Ian Oliver. We called him Jock. I have no idea why his nickname was Jock, but we called him Jock. He's an amazing bloke. And he's retired now. But I remember my first session at Newcastle. It's an empire of a club, massive club. Walked in the door, and session after session, I noticed that there was one or two people getting the pool ready, and all the rest of the swimmers would wait to get until the pool was ready, and then they'd come on poolside and just jump in and enjoy the pool. So there'd be like 30, 40 swimmers. So I noticed another trend, that the ones who were getting it ready were the ones who were the international swimmers. So you kind of think it was the other way around, but these guys were just like, listen, if it doesn't get done, I'll do it. So they would get the pool ready. There was one day, about 6 weeks, I was still fairly new. I'd said to the coach, I said, Jock, how come when we turn up, there's two people getting the lane ropes in, taking the pool cover off, and there's 40 swimmers, 30 swimmers in the change rooms ready to get in? And he said, that's because you'll make it to the top and they never will. Can you tighten lane number 5 for me, please? It was genius the way he did it. He gave me a task to do. I was just like, shut up and crack on. I loved it. But it's the way they teach you that, you know, that they're proper mentors, that, you know, he didn't sit me down and yarn on. He just gave me a quick whip comment, and helpful.
It's like Karate Kid, you know, wax on, wax off.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely.
Guy.
Go ahead.
No, just go on, Guy.
No, I actually missed it. So the train passed the station.
Yeah, I was listening to the podcast you also were doing. So I heard about this 2 lengths of the pool, and I saw some people also comment that one. So maybe you want to explain that one more time, please?
Yeah. So the 2 lengths is, that's what I base a lot of my business on, because back in 2005, I was already an Olympic swimmer. I'd gone to Athens in 2004, and I was already quite high up in the world rankings, regularly in the top 10 in the world, was on my way to the world championships. There was no reason to ask if you like, there was no real reason to delve deeper and ask tough questions because things were moving in the right direction. And it was my sports psychologist one day when I was really stressed. He's called Simon Hartley. He said, I'd walked in his office ready for a psychology session. And he says, "You look a bit stressed." I was like, "Oh, I've got so much on." And I just came out with all these things, telling them everything that's happening, all the drama. And he said, "Whoa, that's a bit of a tough gig for somebody who only has to swim 2 lengths of the pool as fast as he can." And I was thinking, you do not know my job, clearly. and our just ego took over. You know, how dare you? You know, that sort of kind of chesty type of behavior. And I realized at that point, through the training that I'd had, that if you're triggered by something, chances are there's something in it for you. You know, if you're really annoyed by something or something gets you back up, there's something in it for you to learn if you're prepared to just slide your ego to one side. And we started to explore it, and it completely changed my career. Everything took off even further from that point because we started to ask a really crucial question, which was, not what more can we do, but what will have the greatest impact? What's going to help me swim 2 lengths faster? And, you know, a lot of us get into business or we get into doing our thing and we just go more, what more, what more, what more? And we fill our lives and we have this to-do list that just grows ever longer. But actually, when you reach that world-class level in your business, you should be asking, what should I stop doing? And
it's this, there's a principle that we use with a lot of the work that we do. That's maximize the amount of work not done.
Oh, I like it.
And it's then you get back down to this: just do what's important, but gather up as much of you can that's what's not important, and don't do it.
Yeah. It's an easy trap, though, isn't it? It's an easy trap. Yeah.
But back to that about these coaches, there's a gymnastics group that I was working with, and they were doing a lot of arguing. And before the training, they were meeting up at about 5 o'clock or 4:45, and there's a lot of arguing, a lot of drama. And I took them to the side one evening, asked for some help, and I said, "Okay, so I want you all just to write down, and in 25 years, you're all going to meet these kids on the street, and they're going to turn to you and say, 'Oh, Gry, you were the best gymnastics trainer because.'" And everybody had to finish the sentence.
Brilliant.
And they read it up afterwards, and that's what they polished the sentences a little bit, and they figured out like that's what their job was, to get those sentences. So then they decided before every training that one person would warm up 90 kids, like just run around and warm up, and everybody else would just do a little like, "What sort of day have you had?" "I've had a really terrible day. Like my boyfriend, he quit, and job happened this and work this, and like crazy shit happened." And then it's like, "Okay, I sort of get it. I'll take it easy on you during the training." So they built up this empathy with each other. It was a really nice exercise. It sort of stuck with me. Like, it's just one of those nice things. In 25 years, like as a coach, you as well are going to meet a lot of these kids that you're training, and they're going to say, "Chris, you are the best coach I've ever had." And I wonder why they're going to say it. That's it's really cool.
That is really cool. And you never know the impact you're going to have. You know, you start these things and you say these words to people, and you go with your philosophy to a session or to a big group, but you just don't know. I always say to people, whenever you're learning to present, if there's 100 people in the room and you're given one presentation or one session, there's actually 100 presentations going on. There's people listening on a totally different level, and they're all at different stages. I remember there was a lady at the back of the room on one of my first talks. I thought it was dreadful. And I look back now and I cringe, thinking I was terrible back then. But she came over at the end crying her eyes out. And I was like, "Oh my God, what have I done to this woman?" And she just said, "Some of the stories that you told there, I'm going to tell my boss to go and stick his job because I'm going to go and follow my dream of running my own business." And she did. But at first I was like, "No, don't quit your job. You don't do that." She's like, "No, you've just told me to quit my job." I said, "I didn't say that." But she took it as that, and she ran with it, and she started her own HR company, and things just took off for her. And she kept in contact. She was like, I'm doing this now. I'm doing this now. It was just amazing. I just thought, if I was just in that room for that one person, then so be it.
You know, Chris, I have a sort of an re-epiphany just now, and this is something I'd like to give to all the viewers, because there's a lot of people coming into the coaching scene and asking, what kind of techniques should I do, or what should I say to people, and can I get a checklist that I can, or a process or a methodology or some sort of thing. And all of that comes natural if you have empathy.
True.
Right. So they try to sort of circumvent the fact that they don't have the right empathy, many of them. They don't have the empathy, so they need something that sort of supplants the empathy, or hides the lack of empathy. And if I can do this rote process, then I just mimic you. But the point is, you can't mimic Chris Cook. Because there is just one Chris Cook. And that is the guy right there with that empathy. And from that empathy emanates all the other stuff, emanates the stories, emanates the 300 presentations that happens in that room. And so people have to go further in, not process, not checklists, but actually work with their own empathy and their own mindfulness and their own awareness and their own interest in people. And if you have all that basic in, then fuck the process, because that will come naturally to you anyway.
I agree. And I think, you know, one of my philosophies in coaching is when you're coaching and mentoring someone, you need to set up an environment that the other person and you feel safe enough to be disrupted. I think that's key and crucial, is that you build up a relationship and a rapport with that empathy. And it is empathy, you're right. That's the one that threads through the whole session, the whole relationship. And that sets it up so that people feel comfortable and safe to be disrupted. Because essentially that's what they've come to you for. They've come to you because they want something, they see something, but there's something stopping them. And it invariably 9-10 times out of 10, it is them who is stopping it. They are the ones.
That's also one of the reasons why what Guy said, that we give away everything that we make. We give away all our books, we give away podcasts, films, material that we make, like everything. But there's one thing we can't give away, and that's us delivering it. So it's like we can give away whatever. Even Brian got like a really nice podcast, a 45-minute podcast from yesterday that I sent to tag to Brian on LinkedIn. That it was, here's another free podcast for you. Take this and do what you want with this.
That's amazing.
But it's I think if your identity is a framework or is a method or is something, it's something that's just a bit off. You're sort of like protecting that instead of just trying to help somebody.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also, you know, you've got to create a relationship where or partnership where people allow you to walk alongside with them. You know, that's how I see coaching and mentoring. You get invited to walk alongside with someone as they go through something, as they venture on this new path, this new journey. You know, I'll never forget leaving swimming and trying to go back and work with the people that I used to work with, and it just didn't work. Simon is a phenomenal sports psychologist and a phenomenal coach, but there was a patch of time where I couldn't go back and work with him. I wanted to, it just didn't work. I needed to move on and do something different and work with someone different to become something different. And I did that, and it took a long time. And now we've kind of come full circle, back working in partnership again on various projects, and it works beautifully again. But it needed that kind of migration away for me to change something. And it was all to do with me. And I went through some pretty dark times, and I heard a phrase the other day, and it really rang true. It said, you know, athletes die twice. You know, they finish their career and experience that almost that loss, that death, and then obviously the ultimate mortal one is the one at the very end. But you know, and it hit us, that quote. Somebody said it, and I thought, wow, that's true. That I felt that. I have felt that. I've been there.
But would you change that?
Sorry?
Would you change that if you could?
You know, looking back now, never. But knowing what I went through, I wouldn't want to go through it again. I'll be honest with you.
Well, you are going to go through it again, or a little more dramatic than next time. But you know, I'm coaching the head ballerina in the Norwegian Opera. Awesome. And she's now 41, I think, and she's their career are terminated. You know, they're terminated at 42. Then they get retired. Yeah, they officially get retired. They get kicked out, and that's how it is. So it's not like in football you can be a goalkeeper and you can keep going a little bit further. But here it's a hard limit. And she's been only a ballet dancer since she was like 5 years old, and that's been the only thing she's ever been. And she's now like 41, about to be killed as a ballet dancer. She will die as a ballet dancer, and she will reincarnate as something else. And this is the process I'm helping her through. So seeing how we can make that transition, that reincarnation, as smooth as possible and as valuable as possible, and still retaining the qualities and, you know, the passion and whatever. And I done a lot of athletes who have died as an athlete and tried to pick up another type of life. And many of them find it very hard to find the similar type of passion. Because they have this passion up here, or way up here, as a, you know, you, as in swimming, you have to have an enormous amount of passion to put all that into it. And you don't even think it's all that into it, but it is, right? And then you get something else in life, and you never find that level of passion, because it's never like that. It's always, And then there's a question: can you find that passion, or do you have to learn to be satisfied with less extreme passion? What do you think?
I think you have to recalibrate. You have to recalibrate a lot of things. You have to reassess and recalibrate. You know, and you coming out of swimming, that I'm a warm person. So focusing just on myself didn't come natural, if you know what I mean. So I'm an out of harmony guy. So if I'm in the room and someone's in pain, it agitates me, it upsets me. I have to do something about it, or I have to be doing something about it. And, you know, I know a lot of people who are just in a harmony where it's like, I'm okay, thanks. What's she crying about? You know, I know a few people like that, and there's quite a lot in sport who are like that. I can't do that. So I know I'm a natural empathist. That's my go-to. So when I came out of swimming, actually, I migrated to probably back to myself again, my true self, which was, oh, great, I get to work with people, and I get to give more of myself to other people so that I can watch them grow. Because really, everything I did was about me growing, nobody else.
Yeah. And you know, that's something I really care much about, because when I coach top athletes, there's always this chance that following the 2 lengths of the pool, I train people to become psycho assholes.
No, I get it.
Complete sociopaths. You know, it's just like the only thing you have to care about is yourself and the gold, and that's, you know, fuck the family and the kids and everything. Just, you know, pull them down the drain and then go for the gold. So it's a little bit, and I hate that part. So that's why I only work with high empathy athletes, because then there is a less risk of them turning into an asshole, basically.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you just got to reassess your values and what you feel is, you know, you've got the rest of your life ahead of you. And I think there's a couple of things in there. Don't be frightened to start again. I say that to athletes going through that transition. There was a massive fear in me, because my last race was an Olympic final where Michael Phelps picks up 8 gold medals out of the lane or 2 away. Now that was my last race, and then the next thing I'm doing, I'm wandering around the northeast of England thinking, what the heck am I doing? I don't know what to do. I have no idea. And I had this just horrible kind of slump down, and I was constantly comparing with who I was, instead of just forgetting it and starting again and building it again. And once I started to do that, everything started to change. Again, it was another drop of ego. You know, I wanted to teach swimming, but I couldn't go from an Olympic final to teaching kids. Like, you know what I mean? I was a bit like, oh, I'm going to look like a right fool. And I was constantly worried about it. The second I let go of that and started doing what I love doing and what I wanted to do, regardless of what people thought, my life took off again, and I had a new set of dreams. So I think it's having the courage to start again, having the courage to screw what other people think, and just go for it again. And if you fuck it up, just keep fucking it up until it comes good. And that's it.
That's the most beautiful thing so far we've heard today. That was really nice, Chris.
Yeah. And you know, Chris, when you did that, you know, when you're focused on yourself and all the arrows is inwards, you always worry about what other people think of you and how am I perceived, and is this the right image and all of that, because the arrows are inwards, right? But when the arrows are outwards, you focus about the kids or the society or your family or somebody out there, and then whatever people think about you is insignificant. So and then you become less vulnerable in the bad sense,
Yeah.
Because people tell you that, oh, but you were an Olympic swimmer, now you're teaching kids. You fell down real hard, didn't you? So
exactly.
And then you wouldn't matter because you'd think about the kids.
That's it. And I met so many people who would say that. So many people would go, so tell me what you're doing again. And you kind of look at it like yeah. And it's really hard enough. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and it just came out of my mouth. You know, and I'm sure you do that when you coach, and you kind of surprise yourself. You're like, wow, I didn't even know that was in there. And I said to them, you know, change is less about your ability and more about your motivation, your reason to move.
Yeah.
So if you resist and change, the chances are you're just not motivated by the thing that's in front of you. Because if you resist change, you resist the very essence of life. Because since we've been on this Zoom call, all of our bodies have changed and regenerated new cells. So if we resist change, even at the tiny molecular level, we resist life itself. It's ridiculous.
It's going to be, yeah. What are you doing now, Chris? Oh, you've heard about the largest swimming movement across the world, that's from England and Scandinavia and Belgium and Australia. You know that Chris Cook swimming program? Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be quite something. I mean, reaching out, and also, you know, and then you can start thinking about, where do the kids drown?
Yeah,
you know, in the world. Where do kids drown?
Because I thought about that, what you said earlier as well, that we teach swimming is even better we save lives.
Yeah. And it could be Mozambique. I don't know. You know, it could be Suriname or somewhere. And then you can go, okay, so let's tackle that.
Yeah.
Because then you can have a national impact on the drowning statistics.
Yeah. And you know, that kind of gift given back to the world is all that we started our business doing. We started our business to serve. That's what we always come back to. You know, how can we serve better? How can we serve more? It's not about us. We get the rewards after the service. And I don't know, you must have read the book Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. It's that kind of mentality, that ethos, you know, of we eat at the table, but actually we make sure that everybody else is sorted first. And I don't know how at times, even when it's been slim on the ground business, but we've still ate. We've still managed to eat and eat quite well. Always putting other people first. So, but that fits perfectly with my kind of personality, if you like, you know, and I am an outward harmony guy. So when you were saying, how did you go from swimming to this business? I watched other people around me when I was swimming. I pushed them back. You know, I put my life on hold in many respects. Me and my wife didn't get married until after I'd finished swimming. You know, we pushed loads of things back. And when I finished swimming, it was our time. It was mine and my wife's time to now create something different. And I made that vow back then when I quit that day. I just had to bridge that gap. But that was probably the trickiest part of my life so far. I'm super grateful for it now. Wouldn't change it, but would I heck want to go through it again?
But you know, Brendan, what we should do? We should match Amani and Chris.
Yeah.
Because he's an amazing guy. He always puts people first. You know, he's from Tanzania. He's our black soul brother. Cool. A really, really, really nice guy, and he's creating a school in Tanzania where we're helping him with some IT education, etc. But you know, I bet there could be a franchise somewhere in Tanzania, and it wouldn't be like you have to spend a lot of money on this. It's the other way around. You put a franchise there or something, and then just see what happens. It could be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what we do is not rocket science. It's just caring. We just care. We care enough to give a better service tomorrow than we did today. That's all we do.
Yeah, man. You mentioned Simon Sinek earlier, and it's like you can now I can hear it. Now I can hear what you've been reading. You're sort of saying like it's on the same wavelength, and it's really nice. Like people listen to Simon Sinek the way he says things, and it's like that was really nice. The way he said that was really true. And I sort of get the same vibes from you, man.
Oh, I appreciate that. My God, I appreciate that. Like, he is a hero. He's awesome. I mean, some of the stuff he comes out with and he talks about just completely change the direction of your thoughts. He's an amazing communicator. Amazing. His storytelling is epic.
He aims for simplicity as well. So, and I think that's a nice thing that you have, that it's easy to follow. It's easy to get it in the same wavelength that we're talking about. So it's really nice. I think this was great to get to, just so you know that the Norwegian football team is playing tonight. Is this like really important game that's starting in Guide? Is it 4 minutes?
It's in 4 minutes, so we have to wrap up.
You have to wrap up. You definitely.
this is the most important. This is the most important football game from Norway in the last 20 years.
You know,
Serbia is going to crush them, man. Wait till you see.
Yeah,
it's going to be war out on that pitch, and the Norwegians are like, "Oh, look at our nice skills," and here comes these Serbian guys. We're going to knock them down for it.
Going to be 2 red cards, but they will smash us anyway. So,
but
something like that.
After this is recorded, Katrina, you can put a link for everybody in the group to Chris, to your website, or how people can contact you and stuff like that as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's great.
Yes, guys. Then
this is, as usual. This is fantastic, Chris. You're a really, really nice guy.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. I've really enjoyed the interactions we've had, and I genuinely can't wait to meet you all in person and come over and, you know, just see what you guys do. And
swim.
Yeah, I'll come swim. I'll swim over. I can swim over.
You'll be stopped in the harbor. It's like, oh, where are you from? England. Oh, you have to turn back. You're full of corona.
I was going to say, test this boy. Test him quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
but we can come over to your place as soon as the embargo lifts. We'll come.
Yeah. It's a short journey, isn't it? It's not far.
It is.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for joining again, and we will keep in touch, everybody.
Yeah, thank you ever so much. I really enjoyed it.
Did you take your screenshot?
I took one.
Oh, we might have screenshots.
Oh, okay. Wait, then. There you go.
Brian, you look really scary there, mate.
He is scary. That's his role.
Love it.
Okay, so thanks all.
Yeah, Chris, that was cool.
Great. Thank you ever so much.
See you.
Great evening. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. We need it.
See ya.
Bye.